Keaton is my son, and he was the catalyst, if I'm being honest, to this tenant to owner business. I say business, it's not a business, but the tenant to owner idea. Um, and so he runs his own business. So as a tenant, you can be running your own business and still be able to become an owner. Proper advice, like Kit said, speak to your broker, see what you can do, and then you can start to look to buy your own place. So he worked in Toronto. Actually, I'll let you introduce yourself. I'll just do it. So anyway, he was a tenant. He was illegally evicted. Five court hearings he had to go through. He's a business starter stroke owner. He was also an employee. And then he went back to being a business starter stroke owner. And then he is now a landlord, helping and earning by taking in lodgers. So all of this business about him being a business starter stroke owner, then an employee, then a business starter stroke owner, that goes towards the planning. Because if you want to own your own place, sometimes your ideal situation might not actually work. You might need to compromise a bit. And if you compromise, then you can get what it is that you're actually after. But Keaton, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, as already introduced, my name is Kitan Ogunfebo, and I would consider myself pretty much a case study of both Kit and my mum Patricia. And so, just a bit of background on myself. I moved to Toronto, Canada, pretty much straight after graduating from university. I studied international relations at the University of St. Andrews. Quickly acquired my IEC visa and moved to Toronto, Canada. All was well and good. For about 2.5 years, I lived in the same place that I had pretty much arrived at. And then one year, the person who I guess was posing as a landlord turned around and said I had to leave the property because she wanted her daughter to move in. And so initially, I was, these things happen, all well and good, all absolutely fine.
Sorry, can I interrupt you?
Oh, go on.
Now, he was the one living it, but I seem to have a better recollection of what happened. So initially, she tried to put the rent up by more than what was allowed. So if you backtrack, and then when you challenged her on that, she then said, well, actually, she needed it for her daughter.
Right, right. It was a while ago. Um, so either way, that all happened. There was a falling out, and I was very good friends with the rest of the tenants in the building. And so when I told them about the situation and that I'd be leaving, they said no, she can't do this. They were all very upset with her, and so I had a great deal of support from the tenants in the building, and also I think also from the I guess what one will be able to call the housing association in Toronto. And so via a series of hearings, eventually, facts were established. My tenancy was proven. I won a fairly nice award, and essentially all the rent that I'd paid for that period was returned to me. And I think from there, really, I think that's kind of what kickstarted me looking at, I think, again, the freedom of having your own place and really sort of avoiding the stresses that sometimes can come with renting. I stayed in Toronto for about another 2.5 years, moved back to London about the midway through the pandemic, so end of 2020. And from there, I think began looking at starting my own business. But again, still really wanted to, I think at this point, really do what I think most people want to do and really take charge of their lives at that age. So I was about 26, 27 at that point, and was quite determined to own my own place and really, I think, kickstart my life. And so we're looking at different avenues to do this. And before Mum jumps in again, she was prompting me to sort of get my own place. What is it that you want to do? Is this something that you want to be able to do? What's your plans around this? And I think at the time, my response was very similar to I think a lot of young people's response at this, during this period, which is circumstances aren't the same. Environment is is fairly hostile. I can't really see myself owning a place. I can't really see myself saving for a place, and etc. and so on and so forth. And my mum was again quite helpful and was trying to tell me that there are avenues and there are ways that you can do this. And I think it just kind of took me sort of locking it down and really getting serious about it to really again move things forward. So I quickly went back into employment. So at least I had a salary. And even in that area, decided to really sort of I think become a bit more ambitious in my career. And so became a fairly young director within marketing. My background is in marketing. At the moment, I'll get onto my current business, but I started my career in marketing, and so I became a young director with a global agency, which gave me the salary, I think, to be able to start. I think uh, more so having the confidence to look at places that I might be able to afford. My friends have always been in this area. And so I thought, it would be nice to at least be on level ground with them. And so I started looking for places in the local area, and then started to go through this process. And so through there, actually, Kit became my mortgage broker. So I think it might have been said before already, but initially when I was looking, because I'd been outside of the UK for 4.5 years, I didn't actually have a credit history, despite myself earning and despite there being, and it was a bit of a surprise for myself, no credit. I would think that, that would be somewhat of a benefit. I didn't have any debt. And so I thought that would be to my benefit. But either way, we started shopping around and looking for a mortgage broker. Kit helpfully stepped in, and I think as Kit had was saying, was working with me quite closely. We would have quite a few conversations. I remember at the time, and he would sort of give me my options, walk me through my options, let me know what my pathways were and what my options were as well, and was able to secure a mortgage offer from Halifax, which I think we had quite a few at the time, Kit. But Halifax is the one that we ended up going with. At the time, it was probably a little bit higher than most mortgage offers in terms of the interest rates at the time, but in hindsight, or rather with the current circumstances, was a very, very good mortgage offer and mortgage rate. So we locked in a 5-year term. There were a couple of other, processes that we went through, both in terms of looking for the property, which also obviously came before looking for the mortgage, but looking at the properties, deciding which one, was really the one I wanted to go for, and that took about 1 or 2 months. And I think once I found the property, which is the current property I'm living in, I remember walked through the front door and I said, yeah, this is the one that I'd quite like, and ended up putting down an offer. I forget the exact steps that we went through, but essentially put down an offer. Kit helped me with the mortgage as well, and so all the pieces were sort of coming together. I found a lawyer as well who helped with the due diligence, and and I think from there things really sort of really began, I think, coalescing and really coming together. I think one of the things that really helped me, I think, was really the guidance, and I think that was alluded to earlier by Charlie as well, or one of the pieces of advice that he gave, where look for somebody who has either been through this before, or really look for do your research and do your due diligence. And I think that really helped. One, I think, navigate the space and dealing with the different stakeholders as well. It was one thing to, I think, go through obviously the real estate agents and find the property, another thing to go through a mortgage broker, another thing to go through the lawyer, and then obviously, if I'm a buyer and they're a seller, our lawyers are obviously speaking with one another as well. And I found it helpful to one, have somebody who's already gone through that process, and also it helps to have a lawyer in the family. And so it was helpful to be able to stay on top of that and really, I think, drive things forward. So I think from putting down the offer to closing took about, I would say, 5 months. I think we put down the offer in around September, October, and I think we closed in around March. in around March time, and I think I was in the property by April. Um, so a quick, maybe not so quick, run through of my own experience in terms of becoming an owner from a tenant. And I think that that's really where my fun started. I think that from there, I was really able to impose my vision of what living in this apartment would look like. Quickly sort of redecorated. Luckily for me, the flat didn't need a lot of work. It was already quite modern. It was a 1940s apartment. Redid the floors, repainted, and really was ready to move in. I think maybe a little bit of electrical work, and it was ready for me. Um, then I think came down to the management. And now again, at the time, I think I secured quite favorable rates. So my mortgage wasn't that, at least at the time, to me, it wasn't that expensive. And at the time, I was still working as well. So I was more than happy to just sort of enjoy my space and really, I think, enjoy the freedom that I had sought after. And at the time, I think again, really. I used to call it base alpha. And what I meant by that was that this was sort of the foundation for me to really continue building my life and continue doing the things that I wanted to do, which was build a business of my own and have that flexibility. And so at the time, whilst I was still working, I would do my full-time day job, come back home and continue working on my business. So I would do my 9 to 5, come back and pretty much do a 9 to 5 again, and work from pretty much 6 till I think past midnight, and was able to start my first business or really grow my first business, where I was partnering with small to mid-sized businesses who were already doing to I think 1 to 2 million, helping them scale to their next million, and that was quite successful. Helped a few owners exit their business. And since then have started data flows where we partner with businesses helping them grow with data and automation. In between that period of growing the business, I started to look for ways to um, be more efficient with both the property and with my money. And I think looking at the property and looking at my flat, really enjoyed it. But monthly outgoings and the bills started to add on. I think as my mum I think had said before, if you live in a flat, you'll know about service charges, and so and then council tax started to come. So all the taxes and all the bills started to start to pay for gas and electricity. So they all started to come into the purview. And so I started to look at ways to, I think, turn my liabilities into an asset. And one of the ways to do that, or one of the ways, a piece of advice that I was given was to take on a lodger. And so I think after about a year, I looked at ways where I had a two-bedroom flat. So I looked at ways where I could really leverage the second room, and start helping people. I think one, have a roof over their head and a place to live. And I think two, also, again, as I mentioned, manage my finances a little bit better. So from there, I think I've been again quite lucky with, I'd say lucky, been lucky with my living situation. I quite quickly, I think, found a lodger. He was a fellow from Ireland, looking for a place to stay, since he was going to be a teacher, and he wanted a place nearby. Was going to move quite quickly, and so was looking around. Again, I think worked out quite quickly, quite nicely for myself. I didn't quite know what I was doing. Did a virtual interview with him. Seemed like a nice guy. Didn't ask for references at the time, and he moved in. Really, really nice guy. We got on really, really well. And again, I think the guidance in terms of knowing what to do in terms of, I think, prepping an apartment or prepping in a room for somebody to move out. So getting gas certificates, making sure that everything is compliant, making sure that the deposit is secure, I think was very helpful. And he ended up moving back to Ireland, and so I rented out the room again, and again found another fellow from Ireland. But again, we got on really, really well, and again stayed for quite a long while. Really enjoyed the flat. I really enjoyed the amenities. He was a time analyst for F1, which meant that he was flying around a lot. Luckily for me, we're only about 30 minutes from an airport. And so I think that the amenities, I think, was quite an attractive offer for him and for other people looking at the apartment as well. He then moved out and found another lodger who again moved in actually this year, and again I think I've lucked out quite well with my living mates, and we've gone along fantastically. And again, looking for he actually came down from Scotland this time. As he had a job with the council, but our jobs sort of overlap or interact as he works in data as well. And he travels as well, so he travels up and down the country working with councils. And so again, I think that having those amenities close by were quite attractive. And so I think that we've sort of hit all of these all of these bullet points. And that's just a bit about my story. So I think that for anybody who is looking to own their own place and become an owner from a renter, it definitely is possible. I definitely had my doubts, and I think I was actually quite resistant to it at the time. But I think opening up my mind to it, really, I think having the guidance from it, and I think actually, I think applying myself towards it as well, being quite consistent over those couple of months, 5 months or so, has paid off. And I think it's really allowed me to, I think, pursue my own interests, pursue my own ambitions, and really, I think, allowed me to have a space of my own, which I've really been able to, which I think I've been quite fortunate with. Again, to thanks to the to some of the panelists as well.